Welcome to this special session of Deep Dive. Today we are featuring the All Access OPEX Operational Excellence 2025 webinar titled Simplifying the Complexities of End-to-End Contract Management Through Automation and AI. In this conversation, you'll hear from Mike Giardina, Procurement Technology Programs Leader at the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority, and Michael Levene, Technical Sales Manager at Pantheon Inc. This session quickly became a standout highlight, thanks to its practical insights, strong engagement, and the lively peer-to-peer networking that unfolded in the chat. The audience response made it clear there is a real hunger for actionable, real-world strategies for implementing AI in complex environments. Let's dive into the session.
Please welcome on stage Mike Giardina. Mike is a seasoned procurement technology leader with over 30 years of experience in public procurement, leading technology-driven procurement initiatives at the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority. And Michael Levene, Technical Sales Manager, Pantheon Inc. Michael is an innovative IT and solutions leader. He leads transformative initiatives at Pantheon, bridging business needs with AI and machine learning, data science, and digital automation to drive enterprise-level solutions. Mike and Michael, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Let me share my screen and go into presentation mode. And welcome to today's Operational Excellence Conference. We were excited to showcase how organizations are leveraging digital automation to transform procurement and contract management. Today's session will highlight Pantheon's Odyssey's contract management solution, a powerful tool that has enabled, and I've got something on my screen, that has enabled the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority to streamline their procurement activities and drive operational efficiency. We're very fortunate to be joined by Mike Giardina today. Mike is responsible for the Odyssey platform within MWA, Metropolitan Washington Airport Authority, and will share firsthand how Odyssey has benefited his organization and improved their processes. Before we dive into MWA's experience, I'm going to provide a brief introduction to the Odyssey digital automation platform, the foundation on which the contract management solution was built. This platform combines intelligent automation, compliance-ready workflows, advanced analytics to help organizations achieve measurable process excellence. Organizations use this platform to create enterprise-grade applications. Odyssey ITSM and Odyssey Contract Management Solution and many other enterprise solutions were created by Pantheon Inc. using our own platform. So here's an overview of the platform. The Odyssey Digital Automation Platform offers a unified platform for building scalable, secure enterprise applications. There are 5 main pillars to the platform. The first is around data and application security. The solution has an internal 10-layer internal security module, and all data is encrypted in flight and at rest. It has an AI-assisted business rules engine and also a workflow engine. It has, out of the box, we have approximately 5,000 integration points across 400 different applications. Where we need to create a new integration point, this can be done easily, typically within a couple of weeks. So we have good reach into databases and other applications, and I think we probably cover maybe 75% of the technology stack for most organizations. And of course, being a no-code platform, we have a drag and drop forms developer. In fact, the workflow engine is also drag and drop, so it's a no-code platform for building solutions. So Odyssey also supports AI-driven automation. It has a plug-and-play architecture and allows the use of either your own internal algorithms, our internal algorithms for AI, or best-of-breed third-party algorithms. It orchestrates processes to get work done. So let me give you an example of this. Let's assume we have a ticket coming into an inbox, and what our AI solution is able to do is understand the semantics of the ticket. It can then, so for example, let's say we request information about a company. It can then direct the ticket to a secondary system, which understands that what we're asking for is just public information. It will log a ticket in the ticketing system, so that could be any ITSM system or the Odyssey ITSM solution. And it then can automatically respond to the email and close out the ticket. But let's assume it's an internal question and you have an employee asking for example, their last copy of their last payroll. So in that example, what the solution does is it understands the semantics of the request. It can ask the secondary system for the payroll information, but it knows from its internal security that this is something which is going to require authorization. And using the business rules and workflow engine, it can then direct that request via someone's inbox, email, cell phone for approval prior to actually actioning it and then returning the last payroll to the individual. So where Odyssey AI's driven automation is slightly different is that what we're actually doing is orchestrating processes using the outcome of this. And we'll see some examples of this later on in the presentation this morning. I wanted to give a very quick high-level overview of the architecture of the solution. It comprises of servers and agents which perform the work. It can be deployed either as a complete SaaS solution or a hybrid SaaS solution. And why this is important is in a hybrid deployment, as I said, we've got servers and agents. The agents are deployed within our customers' infrastructure, and no data ever has to leave that infrastructure. And this provides our clients with an additional layer of security over their data. But also note the data between the server and the task agents is encrypted, and it's a one-way orchestration where the Odyssey server is directing the task agents, the agents, to do the underlying work. So with that said, I'm going to hand over to Mike Giardina from MWA, and he's going to talk through how the platform, the Odyssey contract management solution, is helping MWA. Over to Mike.
Mike, we can't hear you.
Mike.
Can you hear me now? There we go. Okay, so now that we've got our slides up and running, my name is Mike Giardina, so I am Procurement Technology Programs Lead for the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority. And a little bit about the Airports Authority. So we are based out of the Northern Virginia region, just outside of Washington, D.C., and we operate both the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport and Washington Dulles International Airport. What I always say about our procurement program, it's really like operating a small city. So we have our procurement and contract department that oversees pretty much all contracting activity for the two airports, to include all construction, design, goods, services, anything and everything. And so for us, we launched the CLMS system using Odyssey back in 2021 with the big objective of streamlining and standardizing all of our procurement processes. We had gone from having a series of both homegrown items, different forms, templates using Microsoft Office, and various other things, and there was a little bit of inconsistency. So CLMS gave us that level of consistency. And so at this point, CLMS is considered our contracting system of record, and it supplements our Workday system, which is our financial and HR systems. But ultimately, CLMS and Workday run hand in hand. Okay, you can advance the slide. So, main focus of the CLMS is as a cradle-to-grave procurement system. So the entire contract life cycle. So starting at the beginning of pre-solicitation, where users use the system to forecast their procurements for the coming year, which leads into requisitions that are relayed from our Workday system once they've been approved from a financial and budgetary standpoint, into pre-solicitation, where the user and the contracting officer put together all of the contract documents. Some things are uploaded into CLMS from outside, such as construction drawings and other types of things, and other documents, such as the actual solicitation itself, are built within the CLMS using the tools that the system offers. And so that's the authoring link of this. And then once the contract documents have been fully authored, we'll move on to the solicitation, which is entirely within the CLMS system, where the solicitation documents are posted publicly. Contractors able to download them from the system, respond, submit questions, anything and everything for the solicitation process, all within the system. Once the bids or proposals are received in the system, contracting officer as well as technical evaluators will review and evaluate the submissions. From there, that'll lead into the contract award process, which is again fully in the system. Signatures are all handled through DocuSign, automated by the system. A lot of feedback back and forth between the contractor and the Airports Authority happens during that phase as well, with the vendor putting in their documents, their final submission documents, tax forms, insurance, and other things. And once everything is set, contract is advanced to the awards and administration stage. And then while the work is performed during the contract's life, we will issue modifications, task orders, what have you, depending on the nature of the tasks at hand, and go on. And once the contract is ultimately complete, closeout also happens in the system along with contractor performance evaluation. And at that point, the cycle continues. Since most of our contracts, as you can imagine, like say custodial services, we're always going to have a contract for those services going on at the airport. So when one contract is expiring, we have another solicitation underway so that the new contract can be awarded when the old one expires, and just keep that perpetual cycle ongoing. Next slide. So, in a nutshell, what the Odyssey system and the CLMS allows us to do is, like I said, first and foremost, it's the automation and elimination of a lot of existing paper processes. And as a result, that allows us to streamline and standardize all of our workflows from, throughout both the requisition phase, solicitation phase, through award, and, and so on. Mentioned before the contract clause library. This really makes managing our contract templates so much easier. We have all of our standard clauses saved into a library, and I've built out different contract templates as a result of those clauses. Contracting officers have the ability to customize them through special nuances that might apply in a given contract, but it keeps everything as standard as possible. The online procurement portal has also further standardized and streamlined things for us, allowing contractors to download and respond and submit their questions. Fully manages the Q&A process where contractors submit. The end user, the technical representative, and the contracting officer will respond to those questions. And that way it ensures that all the contractors are getting the same answers to all and being able to see all the questions available. Again, with the automation of the review process, standardization is the key. All contractors' proposals are evaluated on the same standards, and contracts are selected and advanced to award in the system to include the e-signature process. Administration and reporting. CLMS provides wonderful reporting tools, a lot of different ways to query data, review contracts, look at what's expiring, and track anything and everything. And then, as I touched on before, it automates our contractor performance evaluation and contract closeout processes. Okay, if we can, next slide. So a little bit of just sort of numbers at a glance for the contract management system is, so again, we've been live in the system a little over 4 years at this point, and during that period of time, we have forecasted over 1,000 different procurements, over 250 of those in the last 12 months, which, as you can see, again, 4 years in the system, we've been consistently about 250 items forecasted each calendar year. We've also processed just shy of 5,000 requisitions in the system, with about 1,350 of those in the last 12 months. That includes not only the requisitions for the new procurements, but also requisitions to add funds for modifications to existing contracts, task orders, delivery orders, etc. So both, different requisitions hitting throughout the procurement life cycle. From a user standpoint, we have, roughly 1,300 total users, about 500 being Airports Authority employees, and over 800 different contractors using the system. Our procurement team is basically 36 different procurement personnel, from the contracting officers to somebody like me that's a system administrator for this, and everybody in between. We have our COTARs, which are the contracting officers' technical representatives, aka the technical folks that perform all the different day-to-day activities, especially interacting with the contractor out in the field. People that are responsible for the forecast, as well as all of our VPs and other executive personnel within the organization have access to the system. Some also are COTARs, but many of them just have access to the system so they can view and track and see reporting information on their contracts. And then the last block on here is for solicitations and contracts. Over 900 solicitations have been issued in the CLMS to date, with over 200 in the last year. And 1,400 contracts have been administered, and this even includes contracts that have been awarded pre-CLMS that we migrated over. And again, there's roughly 200 new awards every calendar year. So with that, I will kick the presentation back over to Michael, and he can give you a demo.
Thank you very much, Mike, for that excellent overview of how the Odyssey contract management solution is helping MWA realize business benefits. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just very briefly show you a couple of screens. The first is the dashboard for the Odyssey contract management solution, which you can see up and running. It's a workflow solution, and you can see here I've got some items in my inbox. They could be on my cell phone, or they could be on a tablet, but let's just click one of these and you can see I automatically come into a vendor registration screen. I'm acting in this particular case as a contracting officer. We can see the full audit trail in the system in terms of who's done what for this particular vendor registration, and we can see who's due to approve it, and I could either approve it or edit a response and send it back. So that's an example of how this is a workflow based application. I'm just going to show one other screen to show you a flavor of the contract management solution. So let's go into this. And what we have here is the contract administration task list dashboard. And this is really a central place within the application where we can perform any task relating to a solicitation or a contract. And you can see we've got links on here, so we can go contract onboarding. We've got different tabs to get to various elements. We have the contracts listed. We have the ability to search, and you can see we just went to the vendor profile screen before, and from this screen we can get to absolutely everything within the solution. So you can see here I can click this link and it takes me to the vendor dashboard. So now for the next part of this, now what I want to touch on. So that's just an overview of a couple of screens within the contract management solution, showing its clean interface and how easy it is to use. But what I want to do now is look at our legal review software. And what this does is, in the circumstance where we offer contracts, obviously we've got control of those contracts. The clauses have gone through legal review. But what about the scenario where we're looking at a contract which is provided by a third party or a vendor, and we want to know how well that stacks up against our own internal contract? So this AI-driven software enables us to do that. So let's go into and pick, I'm just going to pick any agreement here. So let's pick a distributor agreement. And then we're going to run our, just going to blow this up full window, run our legal review software. And you can see what the AI-driven automation does in this is it's able to extract the clauses, the legal clauses from the document we supplied from the distributor agreement. It's then able to, it then passes this information to an AI routine. And what that routine does is it compares our standard clause for a distributor agreement with the clause in the third party paper and scores it between 0 and 100. And you can see in this particular case, it scores 40. And then it gives you the legal rationale as to why it scored 40. And you can see here, there's a little bit highlighted in the middle. The user provided clause is more concise and lacks the detailed provision found in the company's standard clause. So it gives you the reasoning. However, it now goes one step further. And what it does using a secondary agent, AI agent, is it says, well, let's take our standard clause. Let's take the clause supplied by the vendor and let's join those together and see if we can come up with a clause which improves the score, but may be acceptable to both parties in terms of providing a red line for the contract. And you can see that's exactly what's happened here. So we have a rewritten clause. We then run it through the AI engine again, and it now gives us the justification of why the clause that has been rewritten is better. And obviously that is then a good place to start any negotiation in terms of a contract with a vendor. So we've got a couple of examples here. So you can see in this particular case, the original score was 20, the new score is 25. Now this isn't meant to replace legal clerks or attorneys, but what it does is allows us to focus on what's important, and therefore we can expedite, you know, if you're sending contracts off to third-party attorneys for review. Not only is that expensive, it's a time-consuming process. End-to-end can take a couple of weeks or more. And what this tool enables us to do is really focus in on what the important differences are between the contract which we've received and the contract and our standard terms and conditions for a particular type of contract. So that's a brief overview of a couple of examples of some software. Let me come back to my main presentation here. Okay, so what we've seen today, we talked about the contract management solution and the underlying platform, the Odyssey digital automation platform, and how it can craft enterprise applications. Mike Giardina from MWAR was able to share how this tool is helping his organization in terms of providing efficient processes. And this is all underpinned by the Odyssey platform, which is a no-code enterprise development platform supporting agentic AI and process automation. I know it's got a plug-and-play architecture. We covered this, allowing customers to use Pantheon's internal AI routines, their own AI routines, or what happens to be the best-of-breed AI routines available in the market at any particular point of time. Output from one process can be used as inputs to secondary processes, allowing for complete business orchestration. Data can be sourced using some of the 4,000 integration points which come with the tool, and if it's a new integration point, that can be stood up internally. So thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate the opportunity to present on behalf of MWAR and Pantheon Inc. And let's see if we've got any questions at this point.
We do, Michael. Two questions that have come in. One, I guess a short answer. If Mike is still here, how long did it take from contract award to go live for this contract management solution?
So it's roughly a year. We went live in a couple of different phases. So our contract was awarded in the fall of 2020, and then we ultimately took the forecasting module live first in like third quarter of 2021, and because that really is sort of like the very beginning of the process. So we took that live first, and then it was everything was 100% live over phased in, and everything was live by October, November of 2021. So roughly a 1-year implementation period.
Incredible. And a follow-on question from that: what business benefits did you realize from implementing this solution? They've said here, reduced time, more efficiencies. In your words.
No, that's correct. That's correct. Definitely, it's the time saving and efficiency, that is, number one. But standardization, is just as important, if not more so. Because in the past, again, when you're dealing with non-system driven functionality, different users that are creating documents and other things are going to do things slightly their own way. And by standardizing, you ensure that everybody's following the processes, and the processes are aligned. The CLMS processes are aligned with our contracting manual and other written down processes.
Mike and Michael, it's been fascinating getting a first-hand look at this incredible real-world use case, and looking practically at how AI and automation is reshaping contract management and really delivering value in building more resilient enterprises. I just want to thank you both for joining us and sharing this important work with us. Absolute pleasure hosting both of you.
Thank you very much, Noreen.
Thank you very much.